Exactly. It's weird. I always think that card's a legendary, and then somebody will play the weird combo, hit you with a lot of true aims and rhinos list with 2 of everything in. I'm like, it's not a legendary. Some people do play 2. All right, opening hand, Felmore against Handlock is really handy. I imagine he'll chuck the other 2 away because he's on the play, but he might keep this Felmore and just hope to get a 1 to go with it.
Yeah. Felmore is really good just because it dodges the early removals, almost guaranteed damage in the early game. There are some minions, obviously, that Handlock can play, but they're usually like pretty easily removed by some of your other minions to try and protect it. So yep, does keep Felmore. Looking for pretty much anything on 1, Volpertinger and Intrepid Initiate, just to get the pressure rolling.
What's Luna got? She's got, I'll keep the quest. That seems like a good keep. Soul Ren's a keep. Mortal Coil 2 was the one I was more interested in, because there's not that many 1 health minions later, but there's plenty early on. So, or plenty, there's not that many, but the Infestation's one of them.
This is a good start, I feel.
You here for the tour?
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Luna?
For both players, actually.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah, good start in general. Rule of thumb, if I don't specify which player, it usually means both players. Unless I don't mean both players.
Absolutely.
That's a good rule of thumb for you and the viewers to use, is most of the time I mean what I mean, unless I don't. So,
all right. I will definitely not bear that in mind and totally ignore whatever it was you just said. Ramy is going to have to weave in a hero power here, most likely. Or we could play 3 wands, I guess. But with your opponent having coin and potential soul rend and having kept so many cards, seems a bit terrifying.
Yeah, hero powers are generally good in this matchup. It's not a full-on board-centric matchup where, if you don't spend your time playing minions, you're going to fall behind on board and then lose the game. Oh, look, Ramy's circling his face. He's like, go face. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's the one. Right. That's the place.
That's such an important deal, actually. Gets so much extra damage out of this. Gets to get the Divine Shield on this. This is going to make Luna's life pretty terrifying. She can clear with Mortal Coil, Coin, Soul Rend. But it's no fun for her, and Ramy does get the reload with the Kodo Bane next turn.
Yeah, Kodo Bane's good reload. It's not a ton of pressure on the board, but it adds a ton of pressure to hand. And because Ramy's been able to get a significant amount of face damage in already, quick shot and aim shot with some hero powers woven in along the way should certainly be enough to end this game in a hurry. And a piercing shot with the Martial Cup already in hand. This is going to be probably too much damage for Luna to handle. 17 cards still left in deck, not even close to activating the Bloodshard Bristlebacks.
No healing in hand.
No healing whatsoever.
Which is a massive deal when this much damage is coming in. She's going to need to tap into healing here, I think.
That's healing.
It's a bit of healing.
Yep.
A little bit of board presence. Does that matter? Ramy has a big decision to make here, whether he thinks that Luna's ever going to heal or whether he can just go face with everything for 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, so this turn could just be piercing shot the 1/1 and hit face with the True Aim Crescent, because Ramy actually has... He doesn't want to give anything to heal. He also doesn't want to give anything for Luna to trade the Cult Neophyte in to block the lethal next turn. Has 10 from hand, 11 with the weapon swing. So let's say you go piercing shot and a weapon swing. That brings Luna down to 7, which means even if she goes for a Drain Soul on her own minion, would bring her up to 10, and Ramy would still have enough.
Yeah, it's going this way because it's
similar.
It's similar. It looks more mana efficient at a glance, but remember, next turn he would have been able to play quick shot and the aimed shot and the hero power because he wouldn't have been under the influence of the Neophyte. So it was kind of close, but the same idea.
Yeah. Where are we at on quest completion for Luna?
my instinct, and my instinct's not very good on quest completions, is that if she taps, she completes the quest.
Okay.
Well,
Old statement, Neo. It all comes down to this.
She's tapped a couple of times. She's played the bolt and taken some damage, and she's lost.
Yep.
Piercing shot, hero power, any way you like.
Yep.
1-0 to Ramy.
Yeah.
And handlock out of the way. I mean, I know that the hunter is there for the handlock, but getting that handlock off the board is always such a relief. It is such a devastating deck on its day. So.
Well, it's Conquest, Neil. So the handlock is still there.
Oh, good point. Yeah. I'm in last hero mode. I'm not good at Fridays. I usually sit there on Friday, learn from the other casters, like, what am I doing this week? And now I'm supposed to be telling myself what I'm doing, and I'm not very good at that.
There was even a graphic. It had an arrow. It was in red. It said, "You are here."
Yeah, but I was over there somewhere. That was the problem.
I would hate to go with you to a mall with one of those kiosks that shows you where all the shops are. I don't know if they even have those in the UK. And
yeah, we do.
It says,
"You are here."
You are here.
Why do they say that? I know I'm here. That's kind of a definition of where I am.
Do you though? You kind of just proved that you don't.
But I knew I wasn't there.
I guess.
It says, "You are here." No.
You didn't know that you were here, but you knew that you were almost there. But yes, handlock is still in. We'll see if Luna can find a win with it. We'll need to in order to win the series. If you didn't know.
That's how Conquest works. See, we do our job so well, TJ. At the end of any America's broadcast, everybody knows how much you get for a win, how many points you get, and what the format is. We're really good at making people... Because people go on Twitter now, they say, "Oh, Lorinda didn't know it was Conquest," but they didn't know it was Conquest either until I made them know. That's why I'm so good at my job.
Fair point. Fair point. All right, we'll move on. Handlock once again for Luna, and then Ramy's going to move over to the Anaconda Druid. This is a pretty standard version, I feel. It's just the Anaconda Claw Machine as the only 2 minions, and then the top end is just the 2 Celestial Alignments and the Cenarian Ward. And obviously the actual Anaconda Druid variation does run Glowfly Swarms and Arbrupts, so you can have that pressure board control working early on in the game.
More or less. Sorry, that wasn't a comment on your commentary. That's just what I was reading on the screen. Right?
Gotcha.
Nice. Because you could say so. I could say just more or less to basically anything you say, and it would sound like I was agreeing with you.
Yep. More or less.
More or less. Yeah. Oh. Right. How does Luna progress here? Obviously, the backfire is tempting, but...
yeah. If she wants to start getting threats online early,
but she kind of does against Druid, right?
Yeah, and it's not like she's desperate to find something specific because she has the Soul Rend. So if early Glowfly Swarm comes out, it's there. Maybe she wants to draw more cards in preparation for having to Soul Rend. Or wants to get a threat online early. This is a way for her to be able to just play the Knoll on the board next turn.
Ramy's got nearly everything because he gets to get Overgrowth into Claw Machine, which takes away all the chances of anything that might discard the Anaconda, and then he just gets to do the thing the deck does: make Anacondas and Celestial Alignments and
Yeah, the Mark of the Spike Shell. That's actually kind of interesting. So, Mark of the Spike Shell, it
More bones to gnaw on.
copies it gives a minion +2/+2, and if it has taunt, it adds a copy of it to your hand. So if you Germination a Lady Anaconda, then Spark of the Spike Shell it and get another Anaconda. It's also a nature spell, which means it's going to be free in that chain of draws. So it gives Ramy like this little added layer of depth to where a lot of times you go all in with your Anaconda, and then if it dies, you're out of Anacondas. What this does do is mean that Ramy will have an extra one. So this is a pretty big deal. We'll get the Anaconda in hand. We'll have to most likely go for a Celestial Alignment, but it's very risky against Handlock because it does make all of their normally expensive threats at this point in the game free. So you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you Celestial Alignment, the Handlock just loads up on the board, and then you die to a Battle Master the very next turn because you weren't able to get enough power on board. But we'll see if that's the case in this specific instance.
Yep, last turn Luna got the Neophyte into play to prevent an alignment. This turn she's just getting one into play for a bit of tempo. There was the option there to play a double Neophyte to slow down another alignment, but this is quite a bit of pressure, and it's decision time for Ramy. But he should be able to have a pretty good pop-off turn. However, the Neophyte again and another Neophyte coming next turn has made this really, really awkward for him.
Yeah. And this has been really nice game plan from Luna, just going for threats early to push damage, because it forces the Druid to have to make these decisions of, well, do I go for it? And now Luna has a Cold Neophyte, gets to get down a free Flesh Giant and a Cold Neophyte, which will make Ramy's turn essentially impossible. Also gets a free Null, just gets to completely load up the board and put that Cold Neophyte pressure down. Well, I guess it doesn't make
things impossible. Yeah, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Because it'll be, they would go down to -1 essentially,
right?
Lady Anaconda, but it'll make potentially, if Ramy has to cast like a non-nature spell, which honestly there's not much, a little bit more difficult.
Well, I mean, there is the lunar eclipse, which is always a bit annoying when it can't be cast.
Yeah, but if you're making a big enough board, I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
What's he got? He's got Anaconda, Germination, Nourish for more things, Spiky Mark.
Yeah,
it's all there.
There's all the goods. All the goods.
Luna has put a lot of pressure on, though. Can she put enough pressure on to get through at least 2 Anacondas?
None can stand against the Serpent Lords.
What does she have? She has 2 Soul Rends in hand. Can that help her in any way?
Yeah, you can go for a double Soul Rend clear.
Well, she'll want to do some trading, then 1 Soul Rend, then hit face with a Giant in the ideal world.
Yeah, but I mean, is there going to be an ideal world?
There might not be a world at all, the way Ramy's drawing all these nature spells, to be fair.
Yep, double Arbor up, still double Fungal Fortunes to get through with no minions left in deck, so that's just a draw 3. Natalie Celine, not the greatest. Troublemaker is not even the greatest. It does have a high health total, but you're almost certainly not going to get the additional 3/3s to trade on the board, because you're going to be filling your board up with the Arbor up tokens. And I mean, this is essentially an all-in play from Ramy, because he's going to be overloaded for way more than his Mana Crystals next turn.
Oh, he still has the 1 taunt at the moment. There's another one somewhere, right?
There's another Germination. He really needs to go.
But he's got 1,000,000 health as well now. Like you say, he's going to be overloaded forever. Didn't get the Cenarian Ward off. Didn't get the Germination off. Should he have played the Arbor up? I guess he was in a hurry to get stuff done. So in an ideal world, he wouldn't have Arbored up, right? And then he'd have got the Germination onto another Lady Anaconda to get another taunt out there. Just to make things a little bit messy.
Yeah.
It's easy to say in an ideal world. Anyone who's ever played this deck, the animations are kind of slow, so you don't always get to do everything. You're better off doing something than nothing. I think he took the view with the Arbor up that he wants to buff the 1 taunt he's got because he hasn't got Germination and the rope was running out.
And this will be a fully overloaded turn next turn. Won't have anything he could do as long as Luna clears up everything. Looks like she wants to hold on to another Soul Rend by going with the Soul Rend, getting the free Soul Rend.
Yeah.
I'm almost out of
Burns a giant, a Netheron, and a bristleback. That's some burns.
Still not over though. Ramy does have a ton of reload behind this in the form of Cenarian Ward. Final card for Ramy is a Celestial alignment, which could just be used as a I'm going to build up a board and then reset your mana crystals again.
Can also just stop Tamsin, right? He might delay that until he knows Tamsin's coming the turn after.
Yeah.
And Luna burned a lot of threats that last turn. I don't think she's got many left looking at the cards she has remaining. Let's have a quick look.
There's a Bristleback, a Cold Neophyte, and a Battlemaster, and that's about it. The Battlemaster could be a big deal. I mean, Ramy's hitting fatigue, so it really just is like a control game at this point from Luna, just kind of running Ramy out of threats. Best in...
That's so tempting.
Partner assignment is interesting because you could get Zixor.
Okay.
Which would be nearly... Natalie Celine again.
Always. That's the only card in the whole game on that number. I'm sure it is. That's disaster. One thing that impresses me about Ramy is when these things happen, he has a very quick exclamation, lets it out, and then just gets back on with the game.
Yeah. There's the Battlemaster. Ramy has 35 health, so...
Yeah, he shouldn't... I mean, never say shouldn't in Hearthstone end-game calculations, I guess, but it seems unlikely that the fatigue will be the deciding factor. He's going to take maybe 6 over 3 turns, and if he's still alive in 3 turns, naturally, he's either won or lost anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Take 6 off his current armor, it's like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever.
I think Luna just trying her absolute hardest to not have to use Soul Rend this turn, knowing that a second Glowfly Swarm is possible.
Yeah. Also protecting, the 2 cards she has left, even though they are only a Mortal Coil and a Shadow Blast, it could come down to that little bit of removal being super relevant, although she's managed to insert a lot of damage this turn.
Yeah.
And now the fatigue actually starts to look relevant. So you never say never, TJ, I did tell you. I warned you not to do that, and you still did it anyway.
Can stand against the Serpent Lords.
I like to live in a world of absolutes.
Absolutes. Except when you don't name which player it is, and then it could be either of the 2 players. Or both.
Yeah. Unless it's not an absolute.
Hang on, I'm getting confused. Don't confuse me, it's the first match! Oh no, it's the cackle has come out as well. Alright, it's going to take more damage off, he thinks, by taking out the Battlemaster than the more efficient looking trades.
Job's done.
And this is it, all in. If Luna can clear it, she wins. Looks like she can.
None can stand against the Serpent
Soul Rend and
Lords.
Touch just clears stuff up.
Yeah.
And then Ramy just has no way of winning apart from the partner assignment.
Yeah. It looks like she's just able to get through because it's only the single taunt minion. Doesn't get both taunt. Nicely done. Like the way that Luna ended up playing that one. Don't think... Obviously, Ramy did get a string of poor fortune, I suppose, with the 8 drops. Natalie Celine twice from the 3 possible Cenarian wards, which is pretty brutal. But the way Luna kind of went all in on threats in the early game, making sure that there was always something on board that Ramy had to think about and worry about. Going with the Tamsin Soul Rend, ensuring that she had another Soul Rend for the inevitable reload from Ramy was...
And that all came from this turn,
really
though.
solid play.
The pop-off turn where he didn't get to play the Germination because of time spent on the turn, and again, it's hard to rule it as a straight-up mistake because the animations are so slow, but technically he did get to the card he needed and couldn't play it because he filled up the board with Arbor Ups, so possibly there a game-changing, what's lower than a mistake and not rude.
To call those plays interesting.
Oh yeah, an interesting play. No, I think it was fine. I think it was an inaccuracy would be the chess term rather than straight up fumbled the game. Give your opponent Cthulhu to kill you with type play.
Yeah.
Which would be a blunder. Right, Luna on the Garrote Rogue. She has looked very, very good on all aspects of this all season. And every time we say that about a player, they immediately do something absolutely terrible with it. But she has looked like she was one of the early adopters. She got it right early on. She was one of the players the week we laughed at everybody across all the regions, including Daruk, for being bad at this deck. Luna was playing it well. She has a very good grasp on when to go wide, when to go narrow, when to draw her deck, when not to draw her deck. She just seems to have it all mapped out very well.
Yep, and it is going up against what I think is a pretty good matchup for the Garrote Rogue, especially post-nerf, when things usually happen a little bit slower. The threats usually come down one turn later. With the Handlock from Ramy, again, pretty standard. I mentioned Spice Bread Baker. That's pretty much the only difference from what we saw from Luna's list is -1 Unstable Shadow Blast, +1 Spice Bread Baker. Which can sometimes be relevant, but in this matchup specifically, I don't think it really is, since the Garrote Rogue is usually aiming to deal 30 damage or very close to it in a single turn. So, we'll see if it's able to come into play if, let's say, Luna's forced to go with some kind of tempo game plan, but it's not really necessary in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree with that, more or less. It just feels like a good matchup for the Rogue. There are some things you can do, and I'm sure the Ramy will do them. Try and put the pressure on. But I think the Rogue has learned how to fight back against all those opportunities now.
Yeah.
And would expect Ramy, who seems to be targeting the Handlock really with this lineup. The more I look at it, the more we see of it.
Hasn't worked out for him quite well so far, but
got through.
Yeah, and actually will continue to not work out for him.
Because in Conquest, what happens, TJ, you see, is when you win with a deck, you don't play it again. Not like Last Hero Standing, like when you go through a lineup by winning with the same deck multiple times.
This is new information for me. That's incredible.
Luna's sticking with the Foxy Fraud, which is something that we don't see all the time. It's an interesting card to have in the deck. One thing it allows you to do is to still combo off in the late game if your opponent saves Neophytes sometimes, as well as it allows you to do what Luna's about to do now, which is just put a lot of damage on the board early on, if your hand allows.
Yep.
More bones to
Not really going to phase Ramy too much. I don't think he had a plan to be playing a ton of spells that turn anyway. Just goes for tap plus null. And we continue on. Octobot picked up, Kazakus picked up, Field Contact in hand already. The Garrotes are looking a little bit rough in this position, but Luna has been able to put on a ton of pressure in this game early on, just from tempo alone. Obviously, it's going to be stopped by the healing plus just tempo minions that Ramy has at his disposal. But
this is just like the record scratch moment where everything's going well and then just suddenly it's all reversed and you gain all the health back and your opponent's board vanishes. So even though it looked like Ramy was down to 13, that was a little bit of an illusion. Luna has a big decision to make now, though. She can Kazakus into a 1, which would be normal for trying to combo, or she can Kazakus into a 5 and try and get some pressure going, or continued pressure, and get there on that win.
it's also the secret option number 3, which is the secret passage. But I don't really think that's hyper relevant in this case because she had playable cards in hand. So
yeah, with double Garrote, it is sometimes tempting to go to the secret passage and load up better cards into your hand, but the rest of her hand's pretty good. She did go for the 1-drop and then got poisoned, tried to get the damage, didn't hit it, so takes the freeze and just continues the beating. And we need to keep an eye on these Garrotes, because if Ramy goes much lower, we'll be just looking at Garrote kills you, not just the combo kills you.
yeah.
He's trying to be as greedy as he can with his removal. I assume he's playing Tamsin. Let me just double check though. Some people don't. He's not.
No. Interesting. What did he cut instead?
Oh, it's in his hand, TJ. It's in his hand. We're both checking what he might draw.
You're like, oh, I
Yeah,
wonder if he cuts
he's
Tamsin. I
playing.
looked at the deck tracker and I'm like, it's
Same.
not in the deck.
Therefore, he's not playing it.
Very weird.
But here, he's being super greedy with his drain lives, drain souls, because of the Tamsin in hand. So he gets lots more healing available. Luna got him down to 11 though.
Yeah, we're looking at pretty small combo that's going to be able to get it done. And, I mean, Luna's already actually pretty close to... Ooh. Double prep is interesting. Oh, ship it!
Yep, just launch that fireball now. And she's going to. That's what the pen flinger's about. And she's just going to burn the other prep to get cards out of her deck because she's looking at a situation where just a few cheapo garots might get this job done. She might not need to go full combo.
Yeah.
However, there's a bread baker, and that's going to change the equation massively if Ramy wants it to.
Yeah, I think Luna still does have time to just get through her deck before there's really like this significant amount of pressure. It's turn 7 and Ramy doesn't look like he's going to get a big threat down this turn.
Yeah.
Still both Flesh Giants in deck, which is going to be a very welcome sight.
Plays the Neophyte because he has another Neophyte. Yeah, Luna's in a great spot. Especially if she doesn't actually have the brain freezers available to her to stop a potential giant. She only has the one left. I think she only played one. So. Ramy wants to tap, but 9's a low number.
Yeah, and tap means that he also doesn't acknowledge this Wand Thief, which means it's 8.
Yeah, that's just Garrot, field contact, draw a couple of cards, and any bleeds kind of just finish you off. Especially for where he's sat, there might be an Ethereal Org Merchant on the other side. It means that would just be 1 bleed required.
Yeah. Gonna go for it. Oh, nope, not gonna go for it. Just gonna get
have
a
wait.
tour guide loaded up. Yeah.
That's good game sense, I think, that one.
Yeah.
Too quiet.
Luna playing sensibly and steadily. The temptation there to just put the Garots in there, but she needs a little bit more to get it done.
Yeah.
Trusting the deck to, if this goes wrong, still another field contact in there.
Yep. Still getting
Important for her to do as much as possible here in case she hits like triple Neophyte or something in the face from Raised Dead's next turn. She's drawing a lot of cards and putting stuff on board, making sure that Ramy has to spend mana on all different kinds of things.
many cards from Luna.
Mask. Yeah.
Still all
Almost.
the goodies.
Yeah, they all draw cards. She's also got the Mask of Cthulhu in hand, picked up there at the end of the turn.
That could be interesting.
It's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it really is.
Must destroy.
And the trouble here, if Ramy wants to do sort of Soul Rend into Bread Baker, which is what your eyes are drawn to, he has to leave up the field contact, which means he would lose the game. Which isn't ideal. Instead, he's having to try and balance this to gain as much health as possible, preferably remove the contact, and also not die to the board.
So you scavenger Mortal Coil the 3-1, and it looks like he's not going to be going with Bristleback. It's just going to be Mortal Coil. I mean, he needs a Flesh Giant, right? Like,
yeah.
That's, or I guess another Scavenger will work in this case. Just something to try and put some pressure on Luna to force her to go right now. Gonna tap again. Still doesn't hit Flesh Giant. Both Flesh Giants are in the bottom 8. This is obviously.
Yeah, but it looked like he gave up some health there in the way he did it, right? But he didn't because he was desperately digging for the Flesh Giant.
Yeah.
And he knows.
Efficient is sufficient.
Well, Luna's dead to Battlemaster at the moment. She can brain freeze. It's not urgent, but she's dead to Battlemaster.
Yeah, there's no card draw in hand, so these bleeds are. Wait, no. This is lethal. Is that +4? 1, 2, 3. It's +3.
You're paying for my discretion.
Okay.
5/5. This cuts off a life tap. But this is incredibly risky. Because Ramy can heal up a lot.
Right, so there's the double Bristleback and the Breadbaker. Can only play 2 of those 3 cards, but Ramy's excited. He doesn't know about the Mask of Cthulhu. Don't get too excited yet. There's a lot of play left in this one. He's got to get this turn dead right.
Yeah, the Mask of Cthulhu, though, Ramy's going to just go big on board right now. So it's possible that Mask and heal up a ton. Like, if you just go double Bristleback here, and I think you could start with a Mortal Coil. You still want to be able to get, like, a Flesh Giant down, right? This has got to be a Flesh Giant. There's still 2 left in the deck. He can actually do 2 Mortal Coils.
Come on, Ramy. Draw a Flesh Giant. I'm not biased. Just get the memo. We sent it out to all the players. Flesh Giant is what you need against Rogue.
Fresh out of the oven.
Yeah, just gaining health as efficiently as he can. And as much as possible. He knows that Luna has a trick. He knows that's a mage spell of some sort. And yeah, from where he's at, it could be Arcane Intellect, which could be kind of scary. It could be a lot of things.
Blood is my currency.
I think he's probably expecting it to be Cram Session the way the previous turn went, right? And it just wasn't, so... Of course, all the spell damage.
Luna is out of damage. She cannot get there. I'm pretty sure it's game over. Yeah.
So she's used Kazakus. She's got no way of getting any spell damage. There's 6 bleeds, would only be 12.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. I guess she felt pressured enough to need to go that turn, but no draws in deck. Putting Ramy to 2, knowing that there's still a ton of healing left in the deck. Right? Obviously, Ramy would have played Flesh Giants up until this point, so you can narrow down the hand to be, what? All of the healing, essentially?
Yeah.
There's still a touch left in deck as well for Ramy, so it wasn't like, you know, he even had it all. Felt a little too brazen, I suppose. And ran out of damage. Wasn't able to get it done.
Ramy's feeling it. He's 1 game away from another win, and this would be a massive win if he could get it. He's shouting across his room, and he wouldn't be necessarily safe if he wins this. But if he loses this, he would mathematically have a chance of not being relegated, but to all intents and purposes, he will think he's relegated if he loses this match. Because he's pretty low, there's people below him still got games to play, he'd need a whole lot of things to go his way. So, but 1 extra point, we talk about the importance of these points, it would be huge. It's like being on a lifeboat on your own with only 10 bottles of water. All 10 bottles of water are equally important. But when you get down to the last one, it's only then you start wishing you'd saved some of the other 9 bottles of water. So it feels more important.
Had the foresight to bring more bottles of water when you had the opportunity to earlier on in your journey.
Or maybe just have a day where you only drink half a bottle of water and you start going on the last bottle of water. Then you go, oh yeah, I'll only drink half of this. But you could have done that on any of the previous 9 bottles of water.
Yeah.
They're all equally important, but the last one feels so much more important.
It does. It does. But yeah, now Luna is going to move over to Quest Mage, going to bench the Rogue for the time being because it was a little bit unwieldy. Didn't do what she had hoped it would do in the long run. And last remaining deck for Ramy is the Druid now, taking one with the Hunter, taking one with the Handlock. So we'll see if Luna can get it done, but that's a rough loss to take overall in the series.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ramy having a chat with himself. He's having the conversation. It's like, look at your cards. You've got some of the good stuff. You're one game away from being in a very strong position. Just take your time. Luna, on the other hand, she doesn't need to do that. Because she's been in positions like this a million times before and almost always has come out on top. Because she has played a million competitive Hearthstone matches.
Give or take. Yep.
More or less.
More or less.
Alright, Ramy is lacking the ramp, but has pretty much everything else. Technically, I know, also actually lacking the Anaconda, but that's not the only way the deck wins. There's the overgrowth, that's what I was talking about.
It's the juice. Luna dodged.
What do you think about this Arcanologist?
Barrier draw.
Come back. We left Arcanologist for a while.
Obviously, we've seen some terrible Arcanologists.
Right, all the way through, it's always looked terrible on broadcast.
But obviously, I think it has merit. I think it's still a good card, akin to Wand Thief in certain scenarios. It gives you a card that can fix your quest, and it also just gives yourself the ability to play, Brain Freezes on your own minion to try and progress it as well. I think I prefer Wand Thief in most scenarios. But Arcanologist, I feel like, is very close. So Ramy he's just going to clinch at this, clench at this Fungal Fortunes. He just doesn't want it to discard both minions. It doesn't discard a single minion. Looking good.
Is looking very good. Obviously, we all know against Druid, if you play against a Druid on ladder and they're not an aggro Druid like they don't do in the turn 1, just put all your minions on the board and try and get there. Whatever you're playing, that's just what you do. And Luna is no exception, except she's playing Mage and only has 2 minions to her name.
The Astromancer Solarium pick is kind of cool too, because once Celestial Alignment is played, it can be pretty difficult as the mage, because usually by that point you haven't completed your quest. But doesn't kill the Astromancer Solarium before Celestial Alignment. So, rip my point, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I mean, the point is the opposite one. Ramy had a choice which one to kill, and chose to kill the smaller minion because he wanted to get in this position so that the prime is going to cost 1 million instead of 1, and so Luna never gets to use it. It's not Luna's fault. Ramy just played it well. In another world where he doesn't get the alignment somehow, because sometimes the Druid doesn't get the alignment, Luna gets back gets the Solarium Prime into the deck, and then it costs 1, and then she wins the game later by getting lucky with it. But Ramy sidestepped. Like a hyena. Choosing more stuff, looking for nourish, realizing, this isn't an Anaconda game unless you get lucky now. This is a just win with all the other resources game, which is absolutely fine, of course.
Yeah. He's still got plenty of time. Like, even if Luna were to complete the quest quickly, we're still looking at 3 more turns before the quest reward is even able to be played. Magtheridon's a good pickup. That's kind of a potential reset for Luna. Well, it is a reset because Fire Sale's also in hand.
Yeah, now we've got the old-fashioned Solar Eclipse, Snarrian Ward, plus Nourish to get you more mana for the turns after, and Ramy's just about to let out some... He's just trying desperately not to scream with relief. Doesn't get Natalie, which is a nice change for him today.
Yeah, nice change of pace. Primordial Protector, obviously not the greatest, but at this point, pretty much anything with more than 1 health is on Ramy's mind.
I wonder.
Quite good choices here. The Overgrowth sets the scene for the following turn, but does have the opportunity just to play Arbor up now and get it out there.
I think Germination is also reasonable because it does play around the possibility of Magtheridon plus a board clear. It'd be too difficult for Luna to both get through one of the Primordial Drakes and then go for it.
Yep, Ramy agrees.
Germination and Arbor up. Yep.
We were both right.
Arbor up. Yeah!
Got him. And this is really difficult for Luna, obviously.
Just
Can't even play the Magtheridon with this play, because it would only generate 2 1/3s.
Yep.
It should have to clear things off the board first, right?
Yeah, she could, but wouldn't be able to clear it this turn. Could load it up, but there's lethal setup. Flurry is still rank 1. This might have to be first flame, second flame, brain freeze.
What to do? What to do?
Sorry, I'm just watching the Ram cam right now, and I think
The Ram Cam!
he is invested heavily in this, oddly enough.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Why would a player be invested in this? Not like his ability to stay in a league for the game that he loves is on the line or anything.
Yeah, just for another, sort of 6 to 9 months worth, yeah.
Alright, well that's a 12-12.
And he's got the Moon Touch Amulet. Might come in handy depending what he gets here.
My people are
addicted
to it.
Free stuff.
Okay.
Everybody loves free stuff, TJ.
Yeah, both of those cards say get free stuff.
Do you start with Guess the Weight here and try and actually just get more stuff? Is it too slow?
Marsh Hydra is interesting because you could get an 8-drop and then Celestial Alignment and make it cheap. But yes, Guess the Weight, start off with that.
Got it wrong, noob.
Oh, no. Huge misplay. Yeah, I think he just alignment here. Oh, that draws the claw machine.
Oh my! That's ridiculous! Yeah, he can just take the damage from Luna, to some degree at least.
Alright, well, not looking good. Has to trade over a big minion and then Ice Barrier and then wait a ton of turns and then play the quest and then get through the insane amounts of armor.
And not die, yeah.
And not die. It's an uphill climb for sure here from Luna.
Her only chance, if there is such a thing, lies in... Oh, she's dead, right? Oh, no, because she's got her secrets. It's fine. Her only chance lies in the fact that Ramy has no card draw right now. I mean, he can get the claw machine, as you pointed out. There's also guess the weight now, but no recursive card draw to really get the rest of this stuff tidied off.
Yeah.
Against me.
There it is. So everybody's going to start putting variant into their Druid decks now. So they've got 2 ways of getting their Anaconda.
Just more stuff to discard from Fungal Fortunes. Just what I've always wanted.
Yeah. We saw somebody early on in the tournament, didn't we, that they played the Anaconda version, chose to play no Fungal Fortunes because of the multiple minions, generated a Fungal Fortunes, felt obliged to play it, and discarded all their minions. I think it was killing.
What to do?
I would say probably.
But it's prime time here at America's Grandmasters. I don't think Luna has many other sensible options.
I mean, this is exciting. Oh, I was thinking in my head, like, what's the downside of Celestial Alignment? Like, why would you think that long? That's it right there. This has got to be pretty big, right? It's got to clear the board and hopefully deal some damage as well, or provide some disruption.
It doesn't do the damage it used to, though, does it? There's no Frostbolts anymore. There's no Pyro anymore. There's Mask, which is nice, but...
Ice Barrier still keeps her alive, though, right? That's both Arbor-ups, if I'm not mistaken. And there's no more direct damage outside of Cenarian Ward hitting some form like Grom.
But there is the...
Or Moon Touch Amulet. There is a Moon Touch Amulet! The Moon Touch...
Every turn!
Oh, jeez.
Ramy gets another point on the board to go with the 4 he got last week. Catches Luna on points. She is still ahead on tiebreakers, but Ramy is still in the tournament and also puts himself a point further ahead of Ego Waffle, a point further ahead of Eddie, a point further ahead of Killin. Massive win, and he still has a chance to go further. One more win, and he'd probably be in a really, really good spot. Is he going to do it, TJ? Is he going to escape?
I mean... I don't know. That's up to him.
You've read the script.
Have I? There was nothing in there. I read Monsanto's meme decks. I read the part about killing all day, doing the exact same thing that he always does. I didn't read the last page, so that must have been the page where Ramy narrowly escapes relegation for the second time as well. Or doesn't, you know. That's how much we work on our scripts. Every single thing is like, yeah, this is going to happen, unless it doesn't. But yeah, big win. And you can't really blame Luna for not going for the prime there, right? That's really her only way of coming back in the game. Mm-hmm. She clears that board. She knew that the claw machine was in hand. She knew that a pop-off turn still could have happened because there was a Cenarian Ward left in the deck. And wanted to just squeeze one more turn out of it, get that Ice Barrier online, and see if the draw off the top would have changed things. There's not that much direct damage in Druid that you can... I mean, I guess there's some that you can discover, but it's damage off Cenarian Ward, Moon Touch Amulet, Feral Rage. Just had to hope one of those wasn't there, and it was. So Ramy takes